Hi, my name is Tyler. This is day 2 of the retreat and day 4 of my dry fast. I'm feeling pretty good today. Did quite a few walks this morning early on before the lecture, and then also afterwards with a group of friends who are also here dry fasting, which was a lot of fun. A lot of hills in this area, makes the walking a little bit difficult, and lots of sun, but very enjoyable, very pretty over here. So why am I on the retreat and what's my story going on so far? I did come down, or actually I should say, I first got sick in late 2018 when I think I got mold poisoning exposure from a water damaged building that I was living in Seattle, unbeknownst to me, but ended up feeling very bad from that for about 6 months. In that time, unfortunately, I did get Lyme disease as well when I was traveling in Mexico. At least that's the closest hypothesis I have. And then about a year and a half after that, I also got COVID, the COVID alpha, the first one that came out. And since then, I've gotten COVID a couple more times. So in that period of time, I ended up getting hit just with a number of these bugs, and it really took a toll on my health. I think at my lowest, my Lyme literate naturopathic doctor was saying that most people probably would have died in that situation. Thankfully, I didn't, and just really did pretty much everything that I could to try to get through that. Was on antibiotics, about 3 to 4 of them for a year and a half straight. Also just was aggressively trying to find anything that I could to help myself heal. At one point in that journey from about 2019 until now, I did have to go move back in with my parents and spend about a year living with them. Somehow I managed to maintain full-time employment throughout all that with a pretty stressful job. I'm very thankful to God for being able to still at least maintain a job and hold an income during that whole period, but it was quite taxing. Um, in this whole journey, fasting has been a good help. A number of other things I've tried to did give some relief, some more than others, changing the diet, trying things like MMS, doing a lot of saunas, even Chinese herbs and tinctures for a period. I mean, the list goes on and on. I could list off probably 12 different things that I've tried that have been outside the mainstream Western medicine, of which did very little to help me aside from antibiotics, which did leave some after effects that I'm looking forward to trying to work through with the dry fast. Um, so I'm looking forward to finishing up the dry fast. Hopefully this will be good. I did the 21-day program to prepare. So did a number of 1-day dry fasts at home, 2-day dry fasts at home, a 3-day, 4-day, and 5-day dry fast to prepare for this, as well as the other recommendations in the 21-day program, which was super helpful. Also did the consult with Doctor Filonov and Sveta, which was really cool, and can't say how thrilled I am to be here under their tutelage for this cool experience. So looking forward to the rest of the journey. Again, feeling pretty great today, and we'll check in tomorrow. Thanks. Hey, it's day 3 of the retreat. I'm on day 5 of my dry fast. So today I've been feeling pretty good. Not as good as yesterday. Yesterday actually felt, relatively speaking, fantastic. Today still feel quite good. Stamina's a little on the lower side, but it's a great group here. Sleep has been challenging during this whole thing. And all the preparation I've done, sleep never really was a big issue. You just get as much sleep as you normally do. However, I think with the flight coming out here again, because I came from Los Angeles, there's like an 8-hour time change with that. And then I only slept 3 hours on that total like 22-hour day of travel. And I was like, man, I'm gonna get a lot better sleep when I get to the actual hotel. Then that night, I only got an hour and a half of sleep, which is horrible for me especially. Although for most people, anybody, that'd be pretty bad. And then the day after, last night, got 4 hours of sleep, and one of the fellow group members texted our group chat at like 3 a.m. and said, hey, anybody game for a pre-sunrise walk this morning? So I did that. We did a nice 10K walk. That helped pep us up a little bit, but a little bit more tired today as a result. So aside from that, I think just 1 or 2 of the other things I wanted to go through that really helped me from watching these testimonials, and maybe could help others too. Um, Getting ready for this retreat, because again, 9 days of dry fasting is super out there for most people. It was for me before I watched these videos, and it really helped me feel like, hey, this is achievable. But doing the prep amongst life and work and working 60-hour weeks as a senior technical program manager for Amazon on a low week, it was stressful. Work didn't stop, work didn't change. Commotion at home still went on, but definitely took time to do like the 3-day dry fast, the 4-day dry fast, the 5-day dry fast at home, and all the 21-day program stuff even before those, which helped. But at first I thought that wasn't going to be possible with everything going on. And I was like, hey, I'll just take it one day at a time and just kind of boom, 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 keep going to the next thing. And it was pretty doable. Like I remember having off-sites at work where tons of people came in and having to run meetings and stuff, doing it while on like day 4 of a dry fast, and then going out to a work dinner that night with like 20 people, and everyone's eating a huge buffet, and I'm sitting there not eating anything, not drinking anything, and they're kind of thinking it's funny, and it was a good time still, but it was all really doable in the moment. But when I thought about it before having started, I was like, that's out there. I'm never going to be able to get that ready for this thing like they need. I don't have this chill job, or I'm not just, at home doing nothing right now. So it is feasible, and you just kind of take it one step at a time. The other thing that kind of freaked me out too was the travel aspect. It helps to start the fast before you arrive here. So that way, like you can be on day 5 of the dry fast, even though it's day 3 of the retreat. I was super scared about getting on a 13-hour plane, having a 1-hour layover, and then a 2-hour plane, and then catching a taxi, and then coming over here to the retreat, to a country I've never been to, people I don't really know face to face. That spooked me. But actually, again, that was fine. Being on the plane, the smells were really bad, but there was no issues with anything else. The 1-hour layover was super tight. Like I was in Istanbul airport running from my flight to the next flight, and I got to that next flight with like basically 10 minutes to spare, barely, on day 3 of a dry fast already, heart's racing a little bit, but it was no big deal. It was actually, again, pretty fine. So I think give yourself a little bit more credit and just kind of know, hey, you'll take it one day at a time. And hey, if you do have a big challenge with it or issue, great, you can always pause or stop or whatever. But all in all, it's been really good. So with that, I'll kind of just look forward to tomorrow. I think it's going to be great. Probably have the second crisis coming up at some point. The treatments have been interesting, and I'll look forward to catching up on those as well. But yeah, thanks, guys. Hey, guys. So it's day 4 of the retreat and day 6 of my dry fast. So far today, definitely a little bit more tired than I was yesterday or the day before. Sleep, I'm still feeling like is a part of that. I only got 4 hours of sleep last night. Like no matter what I try to do, just can't conk out very well, or I'll wake up super soon. So like this morning I woke up at 3 a.m., puttered around on YouTube for a little bit, shot out a message to the entire group, was like, anybody want to go for a walk? Group energy today is a little bit lower than it was the past couple days, so no one reached back out to go for a walk, so I went on a nice 12K walk this morning. Time changed too, so it was dark for most of the walk. It was honestly a little bit of a creepy walk, but it was nice being out in the fresh air. Got back. I think one of the other things that I was looking for when I was coming into this retreat was just trying to understand like what the day-to-day looks like at the retreat. That was kind of nebulous to me. Didn't know if there was like a common room everybody hangs out at, or what people do with their time throughout the day. But like, for example, most general days, and today is, an example of that. We were doing yoga classes at 8:30, really light, really great instructor. And then right after that, some people go into their treatments and stuff. Mine's usually later on. So then it's kind of open until the lecture, which is at 1 p.m. That's usually a really fun time. We submit questions ahead of time and, kind of filter through that and go through some of the questions that are most applicable to the group. Filonov has been pretty passionate about some of his answers and really helpful in general with the stuff he goes through. And then again, it's just more time for general treatments. You go when your slot happens. Mine happens to be at 7 o'clock today. And then we do another session of yoga at like 8 p.m. in the evening. And then people kind of just retire to their bedrooms or do whatever they want. Throughout the day, doing the treatments, like when people aren't doing their treatments, generally people are hanging out in this beautiful awning, like that's covered so you're not out in the sun. Nice picnic bench set style tables and stuff. You've got a bunch of kind of lawn chairs laying out on the beach too that you can lay out in if you don't mind being in the sun. There's a really nice breezeway too that I like to just put a chair in and cool off after some of the walks. A lot of the walks here have a lot of hills. There's a beautiful church, like 500 feet vertical climb to get to, and maybe a mile or two out. So check that out too. But yeah, hopefully that helps. And I think the only other thing that was on my mind today was just, day 6, I'm kind of now in new territory. I haven't ever dry fasted this long before. And when I first started looking at all this and even doing the preps and doing like a 1-day, 2-day, 3-day dry fast at home, I legit did think like, hey, 6, 7, 9 days does sound crazy. I was worried like, man, I might just die at any moment, when I'm doing this long dry fast and I'll have no idea when it's going to happen. And just look, it was very scary to me, frankly. But literally, I am on day 6 now and functioning pretty much completely fine. Like even on these hikes, I've already done 20 kilometers today, a lot of vertical in that. Like even on these hikes, you're getting fatigued and then you just sit down and take a break. And then, you keep going, you walk a little bit more. Like, yeah, the stamina is really low when you're far into it, but it's not, there's like no fear in my mind right now of like, oh, my heart's starting to race. I think I'm going to die now. Like, that's just not a thought that exists. So I think a lot of people are misinformed and kind of build this big boogeyman in their brain of like, dry fasting is going to kill you and just don't even try it. It's just funny because being this far into the journey now, like that thought isn't even in my head, and I look at it as like just a really positive experience. That's something that is so innate to being an organism, like a human. Yet it's been completely brainwashed out of us as a society, which that's a whole nother talk. But so we're doing good. Hopefully, pick up more energy, and we'll see how day 7 is. So that's it for today. Thanks. Hey guys, so it's day 5 of the retreat and day 7 of my dry fast. I definitely feel like I am hitting a crisis or entering into a crisis today. I virtually lost all my stamina, all my strength, and what traces of fluids were left when I woke up this morning and was out on my walk. Tried to sleep last night. I got 2 hours of sleep, which is pretty bad even for here. Didn't have anything to do other than play on my phone, text some people, watch YouTube. So I was like, let's get up and get in a nice walk here in the, pre-sunrise timing. Went for a little walk, and that usual walk that I do over to Petrovac and sometimes beyond, that's like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 kilometers. Man, this morning I had to stop probably about 20 times for breaks on the way over there. And then on the way back, because I was with a friend, Liz, just saw her, so we started walking together on the way back. Man, she was like on the bobsled team, going like 20 miles per hour. So that kind of overdid it for me. I was trying to keep up with her, and ended up having to take like 30 breaks on the way back, literally just laying down on my back in the middle of the path, breathing for like 5 minutes. There's random public people walking by me, kind of giggling as I was just laying there panting. It's just fine, I'm fine now, got back, but dude, I've just been pretty irritable all day, pretty tired, hot, dry, been sitting in the breezeway a lot, just trying to kind of air off like a fan to cool myself off. So it's true, like this is pretty hard. Day 7's been shit. But in retrospect, I mean, I've been thinking about it in my bedroom while I was trying to hang out there. And overall, it's not even as bad as what life has been like for 6, maybe 7 years. That's a whole nother story. And I think that's a reason why doing this is something that gets done. I mean, a lot of people watching this are maybe like, who could ever do that? Why would you ever do that? It's like, well, dude, when 6 years of your life virtually gets stolen, and you get so weak at points that you can't even open doors. You have to use the parallel button, the paralyzed button to get the door open. When you got to drink like a gallon of coffee a day to keep your cognitive abilities about you. When no one you talk to can relate to you who's your age, and they all think that you're crazy when you're telling them you're tired or you don't want to do something. When you get isolated because you get so irritable and you don't want to be around anybody, and that's not the personality that you were before for the past 30 years of your life. That's shit. And so, like Filonov says, like just going through like a day or two or even 3 or 4 like this, that seems worth it to me. Maybe a lot of people can't relate to that. Hopefully they never will have to relate to that. But it's the case for a lot of people. And it's cool being here where there's a lot of people like me who have had years or decades of their life just screwed because of some man-made virus out there, or just getting, just catching something that literally had nothing to do with their choice or their decisions. So I'm grateful to be here with the team and to just be able to like give this a try and try to save part of my life. Um, a lot of people here are going to do another 9-day dry fast. Some are on their second one already. They're going to do it at home, or they're going to do it later. I fully intend to do a second, maybe even a third, within 2 months of each one. Just because, again, like, put yourself in our shoes. Hopefully you never will be, but if you get like that, you'll think going 9 days with no food or water is kind of just chill. It's like, all right, life's already fucking hard, so what's that going to be? So it's a pretty big difference from yesterday. Obviously, this gets pretty heavy and hard. You get in a stressed state, but it's I'm very grateful to at least found out about this, have it be accessible, to be able to do it. It's not a walk in the park. The hotel isn't the Ritz. There's dogs outside barking all night long. There's other visitors who know the people working here who are family members chiefing cigarettes throughout the day, so you're getting wafts of cigarette smoke every now and then. Like, it's not peachy, but I'm here for the tutelage and guidance of Filonov, and to be around other people who are, in it, and they get it, and they're doing the same thing. So that's worth the money to me. That's worth the time. I wasn't expecting some Ritz-Carlton hotel and to be doted and served upon every minute. But yeah, I hope tomorrow's better. I'm sure it will be. I've seen a lot of guys here who are in their 7th day looking bad, and they're pretty peppy on their 8th day. But I don't know. Just wanted to be real, and hopefully that hits home with some of you watching this and kicks you in the butt to get up and do something about it. Because if you're not going to do this, what else are you going to do? So, anyways, that's it for today. Thanks. Hey, it's day 6 of the retreat, day 8 of my dry fast. I am still pretty fatigued. I'm doing a little bit better than yesterday, but not by much, and I've just been kind of rationing my energy since yesterday. As I talked about yesterday, it was pretty big in the morning, and then I just started bowing out of some of the usual activities. I stopped doing the yoga, stopped doing the meditation, still did the lecture, this, and the treatments at 7. Kind of decided to do the same thing today. Mostly just been laying in bed, watching horrible YouTubes. I'm watching these Pakistani street vendors make like the most offensive looking juices and serving them by like the thousands to these just streets that are filthy. But it's really enjoyable. I probably have watched like 2-3 hours of those videos, so super stupid. But what's on my mind today, and I think what could be useful. I remember watching the testimonials and always thinking, like, when people got to day 8, like, oh, what a breeze, and they only got like a day or 2 left, and they're practically done already. And sitting here on day 8, it feels like time has slowed down. Like, I am checking my timer every 15 minutes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's 42 hours left of this. This is pretty brutal. So I'm just white knuckling right now and kind of scraping by. Eyes feel dry. Mouth is less parched than yesterday, but just super weak. No stamina. A little bit on the irritable side. I really enjoyed talking to all the people here at the retreat and chatting in the early days. And one of the wise old sages who is here, Leon, was telling me that I overdid it in the first few days, and I'm paying for that now, so it may be true. I think the only other thing I wanted to go through in today's video, it was kind of triggered from watching a video or 2 yesterday that Sveta shared from another participant who had done many 9-day dry fasts in the past and had completely healed herself of some just strange, I think Lyme related, but some other related diseases too. And it was a battle for her. But Sveta was asking, like, hey, how do we get people interested in doing this who aren't desperate?
And I hate to say it, but like a lot of people in this group are at that desperate stage, myself included, which is I alluded to yesterday, like why we're even doing this. But like for the people who aren't desperate, um, logically it sounds really good to do, but I get it. Like there's probably not a lot of curiosity or interest in doing something like this from people who aren't desperate yet. But hopefully, maybe like as I was thinking about this, hopefully this can pique your interest and at least lead you to take like the next step or the next two steps in a journey that could radically improve your health and be a good preventative maintenance for you in the future so you never have to be in a situation like this where you're actually really struggling and having a low quality of life. um, like sorry, I'm kind of having a brain freeze right now, but I think you really need to just look at the current situation of things, and maybe that'll pique your interest. But it's kind of a circus that we live in. People are super fat, everybody's super tired. People are getting chronic diseases much younger in life, and much more of them than any other time in modern history. Fertility rates are super low. Um, that's a whole nother story. How many miscarriages people have these days? Tons of cancer. And then now you got this turbo cancer, which, I mean, it's probably a good name for it. That stuff's insane. I won't go into the background or the root of why that's happening these days, but the general scene of things is abysmal. And I think a lot of people just are living like this ostrich life of putting their head in the sand and not even caring until something happens to them. And one of the books I read a while back, it described health as being this life raft that you're in. And when you're in it and you're above water, everything's good. That was kind of the metaphor for your health. But as you go on in life, little bricks get thrown into the raft. And you never actually pay attention to those bricks until all of a sudden the water spills into the raft. And that's symbolic of those bricks are these ailments or things that happen. Maybe it's eyesight getting worse. Maybe it's just being more tired or having anxiety all of a sudden, something like that. But I think that's how a lot of people view their health and approach it these days. They've got all these little bricks that just get tossed in their life raft year after year, and they don't pay any attention to it because the raft is still above water. But it's a hell of a lot easier to stay afloat and keep yourself good if you're at least aware of those bricks and start pulling them out of the raft before the thing goes underwater. Because that's a flip of a switch. The second it goes underwater, you're screwed, man. I mean, you're now in a desperate stage and you've really got to fight. And it's a lot harder to bail the bricks out of the raft when it's sinking and then bail out all the water too. So I would just encourage you guys, like, really have your interest peaked. You don't have to go black and white. Start with a 16-hour dry fast. I mean, a lot of this stuff is super small and you can treat it like an experiment. Buy one of Dr. Filonov's books, or go to Health Universe website and buy the 21-day program, or even maybe just like research whatever's on the website, get a little bit interest in it and get your toes wet. I remember doing my first 16-hour dry fast, and even though I'm on like day 8 right now of literally no food, literally no water, haven't even touched water, absolutely nothing. Like there's no cheating going on here. But when I first started like 3 months ago, 16-hour dry fast was brutal. I mean, like not like not doable, but just by the time I got there, my eyes were hurting. I had a big headache, and like it was a beastly effort. And I was like, wow, I really did that 16 hours. I thought that was crazy, and probably a lot of other people would too. But it's a really quick progression. It doesn't take a lot of practice or effort to progress, but it's such a healthful thing that you could do to improve your chances of fertility, get rid of tumors perhaps that you have that you don't even know, improve your general health. I just feel like that's something everybody should be interested in. And things in general would probably run a lot better in society if everybody was at least tentative or attentive to that. So I hope you at least get some interest. And if you're even watching this, you probably do have some interest. So give it a go, man. I mean, yeah, just dabble, experiment. Even though in society's terms this is crazy, it's not that it's not like you're doing an Ironman or something. It's intense, it's hard, it's difficult, but I mean it's within reach for everybody. We haven't been practicing doing this for 20 years. All of us here are relatively new. Maybe we got started 2 months ago or a month ago or 5 months ago, something like that. So take care of yourself, and hope to see you on the trails. So thanks. Hey, so it's day 7 of the retreat. I am on day 9 of my dry fast. I have this kind of common sensation, but weird for most people, where both my ears are not really functioning. So I can hear myself talk and hear all the bass in my voice. So it's really hard for me to even understand if I'm speaking loud or not. Sounds like I'm shouting. Hopefully I'm not. But I was feeling a little chilly, so I got a couple of jackets on, long sleeve on. Funny enough, like 3 hours ago, I was sitting out on the beach, shirtless in the clouds, and I felt fine. And then, yesterday, I just felt like I had a total fever all day long, pretty much from the morning until like 5, 6 o'clock. So, actually, until like 8 o'clock. So, I was mostly bed riding yesterday. It's one of my favorite pastimes, just to ride that bed into the future. The day before that was day 7, and had like virtually no energy. Was super dry that day. Thankfully, yesterday I wasn't feeling as dry, but hot. And then today, not feeling hot, not feeling dry, feeling extremely weak still. Like getting dressed, my pulse will go from like 35 to 140. And then I'll have to like lay down in bed for a few seconds to let things equilibrate. The worst thing about today, though, is I have this taste in my mouth that's the most nasty taste I've ever had. It tastes like I threw up and then someone mixed some like dog poop with it. I've just been walking around all day long, spitting, trying to get that out. I combed my tongue a couple of times. That did absolutely nothing. But, here we are. And no, I have not cheated. I did not cheat once on this retreat. I did not touch water. I did not drink water. I did no grounding or anything like that with my bare feet. Despite what some of the organizers of this retreat will tell me when they look me in the eye and say, "Oh, you have too much energy. You must have been cheating." Not that I'm bitter about that, but hey, just for the record, I never cheated. Day 9. So now that that's out of my system, what's some of the actual useful stuff I could share? Um, it's a journey, and I think every single fast is different. Everyone has totally different modes they're in right now. Some people were doing really rough for a few days. Now they're doing great. I was doing great in the beginning. It's been a pretty rough patch at the end. But I feel pretty satisfied. I feel like the exit is within reach, and I'm stoked about that. Just kind of biding my time until that happens. Pretty, I feel accomplished to be able to have done this. Hopefully, it'll be a smooth ending. And just, it's really cool, man. We were talking on the beach earlier this morning amongst a group of us of just like how cool we think this is, how proud of ourselves that we are, how excited we are for how good we're going to be feeling afterwards, trying to be, diligent about what to do on the exit. And some of the camaraderie too, even just, some of us were talking about stuff that we could do in the future or staying in touch and maybe even doing like a visit in one of the European countries, next year together or something. So the people here are really cool, man. The camaraderie is awesome. There's no, you know, there's no like cliques being formed based on age or ethnicity or, what your background is or anything like that. Like it's all over the place. It's one of the most diverse dynamic groups I've ever been in, and everyone just has a great spirit and a great heart, and it's been one of the really like cherished kind of cool things about this retreat. I feel like I've got some really good friends here now, and that honestly just warms my heart. So, including the organizers who like to poke fun at my questions or tell me I might have been cheating, even though I did not. So, there we go. I'll wrap it up on that for today, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. So, that's it. Hey, so it's day 8 of the retreat, day 1 of my exit, and I am pretty ecstatic to have exited basically. Promptly at 5 a.m. this morning. That's when Filonov was, recommending if you're going to exit, don't do it any earlier than 5 a.m. So, right at 5 a.m. pretty much, I was out there with my canteen, getting some water from the tank, and, heated it up, so that way it's at least at body temperature, if not hotter, and started drinking, and it was just absolutely magical. So I feel like there's a lot I wanted to go through today or chat about, but I'll try to keep it maybe a little bit on the briefer side. Um, it was just funny because I did the full 9 day dry fast, and at various points, like I literally forgot that I even normally eat and drink. Like I just remember walking around thinking like, what's that? My body doesn't even need that stuff anymore. Not that I wasn't dry or in pain or, just having a moment every now and then, but like I just completely forgot what those activities were, drinking and eating. It's crazy. Um, so let me see. I think, you know, when I was in the lecture today, Dr. Filonov was kind of going on with a monologue of just like, hey, what is exiting? And also like, what is dry fasting? And not that we didn't know, but he was going much deeper into it and kind of overlaying that on society today and uh, kind of most standard uh, care and help that you get from other doctors, I'll say. And man, dude, I was just overwhelmed with gratitude for this guy and for Sveta, even for Daniela, who's been running the place that we're at. I mean, it takes a village to put something like this together. And have they not done everything that they've done? Like, I wouldn't have found out about this. A lot of other people wouldn't have found out about this. I never would have thought it was doable. I never would have done it. Um, so I'm just like tremendously grateful. And I feel really good. Tired, I got 20 minutes of sleep last night, the lowest that I've gotten so far. But I don't feel like ragged tired, For example, earlier today, I mean, I cleaned up my whole room finally. Looked like a tweaker was living in there for a while, but it's pretty pristine now. Shaved, took a shower, did all that stuff. Um, so yeah, I'm like just right now overwhelming sense of gratitude for these wonderful human beings who have helped communicate real health and a real tool that everyone can use to the degree that they want to help improve their situation, their life, their health. Um, so I'll leave it at that today. But man, what a joy, So thanks. Hey guys, so today is day 9 of the retreat. This is my second day of exit. And probably what you'll hear in some other testimonials too, similar to me. Very tired today. Feel actually great otherwise, but man, my eyelids feel like they have little blocks of concrete on top of them, and I just keep wanting to go to sleep. I got 10 hours of sleep last night, which was great. Napping has been spotty today, maybe linking together like a few little 5-10 minute naps here or there. But it's just magical laying in bed and just vegging, doing nothing. Every now, setting a little alarm on your phone so you can go to the lecture or, come here and do this or go to your treatment later on. It's just been so pleasant though, man. I mean, even that aspect is very different than life back home where I'm extremely busy and kind of fast paced all the time. So I'm really enjoying this aspect of the retreat where it's totally chill. And then you come out, and if you're someone who's ever had FOMO, you come out here of your room and there's like no FOMO because everyone else is pretty much tired doing the same thing too. So you're like, oh, cool, I didn't miss too much, Like, what's Leon been doing? Oh, he's just been napping too. Okay. So it's a pretty cool environment in that aspect. A couple of details that might be useful and that I appreciate hearing too. Like the feeding and refeeding itself is really calculated and really well done. I mean, yesterday all we had was just a really light vegetable soup, like extremely light, maybe 50 or 100 calories total. Today had like a porridge for breakfast and then the same vegetable soup with a little bit of fish in it. So maybe, I don't know, 300-400 calories total, and then we'll have dinner later on tonight at 6. But it's really thoughtful how they've made all the food, how they've curated it, so you don't even have to think about that, and you just kind of ramp up your eating. And you get one bowl. It's not like you can ask for a second because you're trying to be on that correct refeeding program. Um,
and yesterday breaking the fast, I mean, water itself just was incredible, but today I'm extremely hungry. So I'm like counting down the minutes till every single meal, which is pretty good. One of the other little pieces of detail too. So I know some people wonder in the beginning, like, hey, are they too skinny to do this? They weigh enough to do this? They're going to be fasting for a long time. Um, I didn't worry about that too much, but I thought it was interesting how much weight I did lose on this. Like when I came into this fast, I weighed about 176, 177 in pounds. I'm like 6'3", so I'm already pretty tall and skinny as it is. And the day of, like the morning of exit, so yesterday morning before drinking water, I weighed in at about 146 pounds, so lost about 30 pounds. And since then, I think I've probably swelled up another 10 or 12 or maybe even more just from the water. I think I've drank about 5 gallons of water total from yesterday to today. So, for you analytical nerds out there, maybe that tickles the curiosity for you. But yeah, today's been great. Just looking forward to more bed riding, looking forward to the meals and the treatment later, and yeah, just enjoying tomorrow too. So we'll check in then. Thanks. Hey, so it's day 10 of the retreat. I'm on day 3 of my exit. This is actually going to be my last testimonial for my time at this retreat. I will be here for at least another one day and then traveling the day after that to go back home. So I'm looking forward to that. Tomorrow, the last day that I'll be here at the retreat, is going to be a nice big dinner with everybody. I use the term big loosely. I will all still probably be somewhat within our refeeding guidelines, but I'm looking forward to it as like a big party, like a big celebration. And then Monday, the day right after that, I fly out bright and early in the morning. A couple considerations maybe on that point. If you're planning on coming to the retreat, definitely show up early the day that the retreat starts. Like noon or before, ideally in the local time zone. And then on the day the retreat ends, I would recommend leaving, kind of as late as you can within reason, maybe anytime after noon on that day. I had things packed really tight with work and stuff, so I showed up super late on the first day of the retreat, and I'm going to leave super early on the last day of the retreat. As a result, I just got one or two less treatments in than everybody else, which is unfortunate, especially as you do the treatments. You see how effective and personalized they are, and just how wild they are. You really can't get them anywhere else unless you've been studying legitimate alternative health for 30, 40 years, So, but a couple other pro tips too, I'll just jump into really quick. Like, again, if you're planning on coming, definitely bring a sleeping bag in case you want to sleep outside on the patio. That's wonderful some nights. Bring various clothes, like clothes for hot weather, clothes for cold weather, clothes for rain. The weather here can turn on a dime, and it sounds like historically it does. I mean, we all here have experienced rain, really hot sun, and some clouds and some wind. Bring comfy clothes, slippers. I've been walking around in sweats all day. Finally took a shower and got dressed up for the testimonial, which was good. Um, and let me see if I can think of any other kind of pro tips. I think one kind of big one too is, especially if you're actually considering coming here and doing this, like read the literature, man. Watch the testimonials. Maybe you haven't watched all of them. Watch the lectures that are already recorded. That stuff was really useful just from like a psychic mental mind game perspective. I mean, when you're going through the full 9-day dry fast, we're human. We can have doubts, that sort of stuff. But if you've like been really interested, read through stuff, watched a lot of testimonials, that's a lot of credibility that just gets buried in your mind of just like, this is normal. Like, this is something people can do. And lo and behold, it is. So I know that there was maybe a couple people here I was chatting with earlier who didn't necessarily do that. And it sounded like their mind game got attacked a little bit more while they were doing it, even though they did a great job, they did fine, they exited, they're doing great right now. But do yourself that favor, kind of give yourself as much prep and ammunition as you can. Um, and let's see, I think just a couple last things to wrap up on. I had never experienced a second acidotic crisis when doing dry fasting before because I'm relatively new to this. That's like the second bit of healing that happens on these long dry fasts. I'd only experienced the first bit. I just thought the second bit was going to be very much like the first bit, totally different. I think I maybe mentioned that the other day, but it was heavy, and it definitely led me to understand, like, appreciate, yeah, like there's some sickness there, there's some illness there, there's some toxicity there that really needs to be expelled. So maybe just kind of be ready for that. Um, and just to wrap up, it's been a beautiful retreat. It's been pretty fun, pretty crazy. A lot of good stories. The organizer Sveta famously said people get crazy on a dry fast, which is pretty true, man. It's comical. I felt like we were all, a bunch of kids in a classroom at various points. So that was just a super fun experience. I feel really blessed to have found out about this just through Telegram, searching around on fasting. One thing led to another. I identified a book written by Doctor Filonov, and that kind of introduced me to this. That led me to Michelle Slater's book. I then realized, like, oh, this is something people can do. Reached out to Health Universe, I think .com. You can find their website though. Immediately booked a consult, and that got things going. So it's so accessible, and Dr. Filonov is like such a sage. I think he's been doing this, don't quote me on this, but over 40 years of like looking into real health, fasting, working with real humans, not dogs, not, yeast or something like that, and actually like watching how this stuff goes and honing his craft. I mean, he's not a pup anymore, and he's still doing this, which is so cool because I don't know how much longer he'll do this. I don't know how much longer these retreats will be around for. It takes a whole village to set these up and to run them and to make sure that they're successful and that they can keep happening. So, jump at the opportunity if you're curious, and if not, I mean, just at least hopefully it opens up your mind space a little bit, and you know that there's different ways to achieve great health, probably a little bit more effective ways than what you've been led to believe or tried in the past. So, and finally, I'm just super grateful for my parents who have supported me through my whole health journey, even though they haven't always been able to effectively do something about it. Just their love and support was really big in my dark days. So I'm tremendously grateful, always forever indebted to them. My girlfriend, who's just been a ray of sunshine and love and peace and kindness in a journey that was often filled with anxiety, stress, uncertainty, chaos. That's extremely rare, especially for people my age these days. Um, and then, I would say just everybody who wasn't a hater. Because there was definitely some coworkers and stuff and others who, maybe give you a little hard time, or, good friends who were texting you when you're on day 8 or day 9 being like, this is stupid, you're going to kill yourself, and being like, oh, don't really need these words of encouragement right now, So for those who were cool and just, were encouraging, like, thanks. That really meant a lot. So I'll wrap up for there and look forward to probably hitting another 9-day at some point in the future because, man, great the first time, and I know it'll get better. So thanks, guys.